Hello and welcome to Tarot Arts Anjali. Here's everything that you need to know about the month of December, including blessings coming your way and some channeled messages for your love and career. So, pick any of these three piles. For pile 1, we have the purple stone, for pile 2, we have the green stone, and for pile 3, we have the orange stone. So go to the description box below and find your timestamp, and I'll see you in your reading. Hello, and welcome to your reading pile number 1. We're going to look at all the messages that you need for the month of December. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel to stay tuned for more picker card readings and to book a personal reading with me. All details are in the description. So, Spirit, what does pile 1 need to know about the month of December? What messages do we have for pile number 1 for the month of December? One final card, please, Spirit. All right, pile number 1. So, as we are approaching the month of December, or if you're already watching this in December, as the year is coming to a close, there are a couple of different things that are finding closure for you, things that are sorting themselves out, and just in general, I get this sense of you've been putting in so much work, and there has been so many different kinds of experiences, different encounters that you've had in this whole past year, and now you're learning from all these experiences and you're gathering those and moving forward so that you're better prepared for this next chapter that you encounter in your life. Since we are starting with the Three of Swords card, which can be a little bit of a difficult message or a difficult experience, so with the Three of Swords, what I see here is maybe recently there has been a heartbreak or a difficult situation which you have had to encounter. So, this could be something to do with your relationships or maybe friendships, or there is something that I see. There's a kind of a hurt that you are carrying with you, but this doesn't necessarily have to be something that has happened very recently. I'm seeing this as something that has happened towards the beginning of the year or maybe in the first couple of months, but throughout this entire year that was a very significant experience for you. And now one thing that is guaranteed for you for the month of December is, we're moving from that energy of heartbreak to this pure energy of Two of Cups, which includes this mutual love for each other, mutual love, mutual appreciation, and finding a sense of belonging. And there is so much of this positive togetherness and belongingness that I sense with this card. So if either in the past year or maybe in the last couple of months, if there was a challenging situation or a heartbreak that you dealt with, I'm seeing that as the year comes to a close, as things are gaining completion in your energies, I'm seeing that this past hurt is giving way and you're sort of releasing that. And it definitely must have been a difficult experience to go through, but now I'm seeing that you're moving away from those dark and heavy energies into this free flowing energy where there is love flowing out from you, as well as you're gaining this new connection. So you might be meeting a new person. We'll see more messages specific to your love life as well, so stay tuned till the end. But I can definitely see that a positive encounter is taking place. You are finding someone who makes you feel so loved, and it's a connection where you truly feel like you belong. And one thing that I'm seeing here is, for some of you, pile number 1, this past year must have been a difficult experience, and I see that on a personal as well as a spiritual level you've really grown so much as a person. So, like, if you look back at who you were at the beginning of this year versus who you are right now, I can see that you've truly transformed yourself. And even if there have been difficult experiences, you've learned from that, you've gained so much out of it. So even if this heartbreak wasn't to do with your connection, so maybe you are in a happy relationship at the moment, but there could have been some form of other heartbreak, maybe in your professional life, or there are certain plans that you started off with which didn't end in the way that you wanted them to. But for the month of December, I can definitely see you coming closer to your purpose. You are in this energy where all your creative forces are being valued, and you're entering such a bright and a prosperous energy by the time this year ends. And I can also sense that for some of you, if you've gone through a period of being confused, or you've had this question that, where am I heading, what am I going to do, or what is the next step forward, in that sense I get so much of clarity that is coming your way. You are getting a much better sense of where you want to move towards. And also any questions about what opportunity is best for me, or which path is going to be the most fruitful for me, if you've had these questions, then they are all getting answered, and we'll see many of these messages in your career cards as well. But a significant theme that I see for the month of December with this Three of Pentacles card is it's going to be a very prosperous time for connection. So, with this card, I get this feeling of people who are working together for a common goal. There is maybe an idea or a passion that you have, and you're finding the right people, you're finding the right community. So, I would definitely advise you, pile number one, to stay on a lookout for any opportunity for collaboration that comes for you in the month of December. So, any collaboration that happens in this month is going to be very significant, not just for your personal growth, but also from a professional perspective. And as I said, there is a possibility of new encounters happening. So, if you've been looking for a romantic counterpart, a romantic connection, then maybe you might be meeting that person through collaboration of some sort by working in a team. Maybe there's a new idea that you're starting off with, and you're looking for like-minded people to start working with. So in that sense, I'm getting a feeling that you might encounter this person that you're asking about through that work setting. And if you are not asking about this question, or if you don't want to invest your energies in a romantic connection at the moment, in that case I'm seeing that any connection or any network that you create during this month of December, it's going to be very significant. And for some of you, just this connection, this network itself might shape the entire journey of what your next year looks like. So make sure that you're paying very close attention to the kind of people that you're encountering, and any new possibility of a collaboration that comes your way. So make sure that you're not letting go of that opportunity. And one thing that I'm seeing here as the challenge for you for the month of December is with this Emperor card. So with the Emperor, maybe the Aries energy is going to be significant. So this could be either your sun, moon, or rising sign, or maybe another person who is involved in this situation. But these signs don't have to necessarily resonate. But the main message here is the Emperor in his shadow element might, look like as being too rigid or too cold. So a potential challenge to overcome for the month of December for you is going to be how to be a little bit more flexible and open to changes. So maybe there are certain plans that you have in mind. It might happen that the way things progress in the next month, it might not be exactly as you've been planning, or things might not fall into place the exact way that you've been envisioning. So make sure that you are being a little bit more flexible with it, and you are allowing for this space to, for even for the universe to try to redirect you in a certain direction. Sometimes we have these big goals and visions for ourselves, but maybe, those aren't really aligned with our best and highest good, and we might think that a particular option or a particular path is the best for us. But the universe, definitely the universe, our higher selves, they know a lot more about what is going to be the best for us. So one major theme for this month of December is going to be how to have a little bit more faith. And for some of you, if this is a challenge that you've had, that you want to have a lot of control over how things are happening, and you are someone who really cherishes being in control of each and everything. So for the month of December, there is a message for you to let go of just a little bit of this control, so there is some space for the universe to do its magic, and for the universe to give you all your desired outcomes. And just make sure that if at any point, especially one message that I'm getting here is to do with rejection. So because we started with the Three of Swords, so maybe for some of you this rejection is actually quite recent for you, and you're still you're still dealing with this rejection, heartbreak, or maybe something not working out in your favor or the way that you had imagined. And right now, you're trying to process things. And anytime that we experience these harsh energies of things not going in our favor, it makes us a bit disheartened, and we want that moving forward to be able to control each and every aspect of the situation. And that's only natural, because once you've experienced a rejection or a heartbreak, inevitably, no one would want to put themselves in a position where you feel vulnerable all over again. So I definitely understand where that desire to control your outcomes and your path might come from. But at the same time, there is also a need to, this saying that's present, that rejection is divine protection. So that always means that when something is taken away from us, or we lose out on something, in the moment it can feel very heartbreaking, whether that's a relationship that has ended, a person that left our life, or maybe a particular situation didn't work out, or something that you were trying to achieve for yourself but it didn't go in the exact way that you had planned. And that can definitely be disheartening. But if we are in the shadow element of the emperor, then that can make us a little stubborn to accept any change that comes, and we might also become a bit sort of in this energy of trying to control everything. So just that element of flexibility is something that I'm seeing as an important message for you. And the solution that we have for you is coming with this Eight of Pentacles card. And the Eight of Pentacles is always about allowing yourself to, like here I see, especially with this card, that you are turning your back towards the external world, in the sense that whatever the external circumstances might be, or whatever hardships are coming from outside, you're turning your back away from that, and your, like, all your focus is being channeled into this one thing. Or it could be your career, maybe there's something specific that you're studying because you have all these books here, or maybe it could even be some form of a spiritual practice that you have. Maybe you've been wanting to get on a regular schedule for your meditations, or maybe you've been trying to really, create some inner peace and space within yourself. Maybe the past year really has been very chaotic, and now you're trying to slow down a little bit. So here I can sense that when you put your back to, from things that you can't control, or things that are externally affecting you, and in turn all directing all your energies inwards and focusing on what are these things that you can control. So for the month of December, I'm seeing that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on your end towards creating all your desired outcomes, putting in the work. I'm seeing that there's a lot of effort and work that's required on your end. So make sure that you're taking all the required measures to focus your energies. And one thing that's going to help a lot is, because we have the imagery of the moon phases here, I'm called to think more about aligning yourself to the phases of the moon. So maybe the new moon that happens in this month, that's where you set intentions for the month moving forward. It's actually going to be in the first week of December. So you're setting all your intentions, you're putting a plan for the month, and then you start taking steps to work on it. And then by the time we reach the next full moon, you are sort of, a little bit more settled, and any steps that you have to take, you're taking everything into account. And especially if there is something that needs to be changed in the moment, I'm seeing that your focus is shifting a little bit. You're trying to finally understand what are these things that matter for you, and you're taking charge of that situation. So make sure the main message here, or the solution here, is going to be focusing inward, is going to be facing away from things that you can't control and moving in the direction of things that you can control, which is your own planning, your own efforts, and everything to do with where are you channeling your energies. And by the end of this month, and in fact the year as a whole, it's so beautiful that we're ending with the Ten of Pentacles card, which is all about completion and so much of abundance and prosperity that I can see with this card. You're reaching this phase where everything that you put your mind to, everything that you start focusing on, and even these connections that you have around you, maybe even a love encounter that takes place for you, all of it is coming in a state where you feel this deep sense of closure and completion. I'm also sensing that by the time this year ends, by the time the month of December is over, it's almost like, what I'm experiencing is a sigh of relief from your end, that you're finally getting the sense of, yes, the past year was difficult, there were a lot of challenges, but now you can finally let go, you can exhale, you can give yourself a moment to just breathe and to look back at everything that has happened this year, everything that has shaped you into the person that you are by the end of this year, and even the lessons that you're going to take with you for the next month. So I see so many positive signs, so many positive blessings that are coming your way, and even in terms of any financial blockage that has been present. So, if this Three of Swords, if this heartbreak or this rejection was about a financial situation, I'm seeing that you're picking yourself up after that heartbreaking situation. You're finding your own people. Maybe for some of you, you might be even required to either start from scratch or just reevaluate your plans a little bit. And once you get into this groove again, once you enter this state of flow all over again, where just this creativity and just I'm seeing that maybe for some of you there has been a little period of stagnation where things weren't really moving that fast, or it was just being like these energies were holding you back. So here I'm seeing that now you're finally getting into the state of flow and you're feeling so energized that by the end of this month you're going to feel so productive, and you're going to feel as if you truly did achieve a lot of things. And by this productivity and achievement, I don't necessarily mean things like you're breaking your back too much to just like push yourself so much that you're reaching a burnout. Rather, I'm seeing a much more stable and a comfortable form of closure that's coming for you, and things are really working out in your favor. There aren't any major challenges, or there aren't any, I don't see any difficult energies, rather a very comfortable, a peaceful form of closure and completion for yourself. You're feeling very energized to enter a new chapter of your life. And now we look at some specific messages for you for how your love and your career aspect is going to look like for the month of December. So we'll start with some overall guidance and messages, and there are some cards that I've already pulled out for you. So for your general energies and the main blessings coming for you, we have these two cards. We have the new moon in Leo, which says confidence is your key to success, which is this card. And we also have the Nine of Cups. So, for the general blessings, what I can sense here is, we started off your reading with the Three of Swords, which is definitely a disappointing or a heartbreaking situation where things haven't worked out in our favor. But one strength that I see in you with this new moon in Leo is no matter what circumstances that you go through, there is this inner sense of resilience that you possess. And that resilience is something that's so admirable about you. It makes you go through even the harshest of challenges. And I think, for some of you, this might not have always been the case, that, you might have earlier not had this level of strength, or it might have been difficult for you to go through these, but because of the experiences that you've had so far, I can see that you've grown so much, you've learned so much, and now you are in this position where you've built your confidence all over again. And all of these efforts that you've put in so far are definitely going to pay off, especially for the month of December as this year comes to a close. And with this card, I can definitely see that, any success that you have been dreaming about is going to come your way. The only message for you, the only guidance for you is to keep your confidence up. And maybe, if you are surrounded by people who negatively affect your self-esteem or your self-worth, then it might be time to evaluate what kind of people are you surrounding yourself with, and if these connections are worthy enough to continue. For example, there might be certain people who just put you down or who affect your confidence a lot. So either you can shut them out if you can't cut off that connection, or you can make that decision to let go of that connection, and knowing what energy do you want to take with you for the next year. And since we have the new moon, I'm almost seeing that one chapter, one phase of your life has ended, and there's another chapter that's beginning, and that's a major blessing that's coming your way. And especially with the Nine of Cups as well, with this card we see reaching this sense of emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. And it again, like as I'm doing your reading, I feel this sense of calm. I feel that I can just sigh out and I can let go, I can release all the burdens that I've been carrying. And that might be an energy that you experience for the month of December, that you can finally let go of all this stress, all these worries that you might have been carrying for the whole year. And now you're reaching the stage of peace that I can, sense within you. And it's going to be so beautiful once you get in touch with this inner peace within you. Now we look at some messages for your love life, or the blessings or energies coming your way. So the cards that we have for you is mutable moon, nothing is set in stone. And we have the daughter of wands, which is the page of wands in this deck. So with this card, nothing is yet set in stone, the mutable stone. I can see that there, whenever this card comes, I get a sense of you being more in control and having a sort of almost a mastery over what outcomes that you want. Like, I'm seeing that you are moving away from this energy of being too dependent on other people or the actions that they take, the decisions that they make to decide your outcome. So for example, maybe in your love life you have been a little bit more dependent on other people's decisions. So maybe your previous partner, like they might have been the one who made the move to end this connection, or maybe they didn't put enough efforts. And it was always like, you might have been in this state of just wanting the other person to take some action. But now I'm seeing that things are turning the other way around. You are gaining so much more power over your own outcomes. And especially with the page of wands, I see you are entering this phase of valuing your own passion, your own needs, and your own satisfaction above someone else. And that's not in a selfish manner at all. Rather, it's such a beautiful thing to finally honor what it is that you deserve. What is it that you deserve from a connection, and how a person should be treating you. So you're truly tapping into your power, especially as we saw with the new moon in Leo, that you're tapping into this energy and this strength within you. And here I see that it's going to become less about, does this person like me back? Does this person want me? And it's going to become more about, do I want this person in my life, or do I want these energies in my life? And I'm seeing you really step into this power, and especially with the daughter of wands. So irrespective of the gender that you identify as, this daughter, because there is feminine energy here, it helps me connect with this element of, or this power of nurturing, compassion, and gentle energies that we have within us. So you're truly becoming a lot more compassionate towards yourself. You're relying less on what other people have to say and more on what your own needs are, your own values are, and whether a connection is going to support that or not. And finally, we're going to look at some messages that we have for your career and what changes might be happening for the month of December. And the cards that we have for you is full moon in Leo and the chariot. So it's so interesting that we're starting off with new moon in Leo and ending with full moon in Leo. So either Leo as a sign could be significant, so it could be your sun, moon, or rising sign, or maybe the person that you're asking about, so that could be a significant time frame, or maybe someone you met during a Leo season could be significant for you. And just in general, because these cards came up in the career situation, I'm seeing that this card says don't let pride get in your way, and we have the chariot card. So as I was saying earlier, it's going to be a time to approach less from your ego and more from your heart. And because we had the Three of Pentacles also coming up earlier, so it might be time to give up this need for wanting to do everything by yourself, or like that. That's not to say that you aren't capable enough. Rather, it's only for you to recognize that there is so much support available. There are other people who might have the same visions as you, and they are going to be supportive supportive in your career journey moving forward. So make sure you are seeking for help when required, and especially when you think that doing something by yourself or taking on too many responsibilities, if that is holding you back in any manner, then give a chance to this teamwork, and just opening yourself up to these collaborations that might take place. And because this card says don't let pride get in your way, so make sure, definitely I can understand when we come from a defensive position because we don't want to either share our ideas with too many people, or in some cases we don't want to even share the spotlight with other people because we want our own hard work to be recognized in its entirety, in its own capacity. So definitely trust only the people who you think are going to add value to the work instead of taking something away, taking your credit away. But once you've done that, once you've recognized that, also make sure that you are giving a chance to these supportive connections, these connections that you intuitively feel are going to help you grow in your career. So with the full moon in Leo, I'm definitely seeing you enter a phase where you're really making use of all the resources available to you when it comes to your career situation. And with the chariot, I see someone marching forward with all these plans, all these ideas in place, and then creating your desired outcome. So you're not letting anything external hold you back. You're, especially what we saw with the Eight of Pentacles earlier, that you're moving your focus away from things that are not in your control. So maybe it might be for some of you, pile number one, that in your career or in your work situation you might have had unpleasant experiences earlier, or either people using you or mistreating you or whatever that might have been. And when we go through these experiences, we do get a sense of defensiveness. But what I'm seeing for you here is you are now approaching this situation more from a heart space, and this might even involve forgiveness on some capacity. It doesn't have to be externally explicitly saying that you forgive someone, but just even for your own sake, letting go of whatever this betrayal or mistreatment has been in the past. Like, as long as you're not, like, it's not like the other person can just take you for granted, but for your own inner peace, you are moving forward from that situation. And this chariot again reminds me of the message that we had with the Eight of Pentacles, that you're moving your focus towards things that are in your control, and you're taking all the actions that will drive you towards this outcome that you want for yourself. So I see that the main focus for you for this month of December in your career needs to be your dedication, your determination towards whatever you're doing, irrespective of what others around you are saying. And let go of your pride and ego a little bit and seek for help whenever required. I can definitely confirm that you will have supportive people around you who will have the best intentions in mind. And I'm going to end your reading with the final card that we have for you, pile number one, which is the Mirror. And this card helps me to understand that one main energy for you for the month of December is going to be reflection and looking back at how the year has been so far. For some of you, this might be a little bit of a confrontational energy, but even taking accountability for your own actions. Understand that there is a difference between accountability versus criticizing ourselves too much. Taking accountability means that we're understanding what actions we took and how that might have contributed to the consequences, but not turning that into too much of self blame. Rather, focusing on what is it that you learned from that situation, what did you gain from that challenge, or maybe even a mistake that you made, and then how can you use those lessons to create a better life for yourself moving forward. And with this card, I also get this message that if there has been an injustice that has occurred from outside, so as I was saying, we started your reading with the Three of Swords. So whether it has been your romantic connections, friendships, relationship with your any of your family members, or even your work colleagues, or how the situations have been, if there is any aspect where you feel that you've been wronged, or maybe from outside there was this energy of hurting you or harming you in any manner, so that can break us in some ways, and it can cause these scars or these wounds that we carry with us for a long time. And as I was saying earlier, that if you've been hurt or betrayed once, it gets difficult to trust other people moving forward, even people who might have the best intentions in mind. We might not be able to fully trust them. So this mirror is about how can you carry that wound or a scar that this negative experience might have placed on you, not as something that holds you back from ever experiencing those situations again, rather as a reminder of your own resilience, that despite these external difficult situations, you were able to go through these challenges. And I'm also seeing, especially with these shimmering, sparkling energies, for some reason, I'm called to think about um, the song by Taylor Swift, the line specifically that I make the whole place shimmer. So there I'm seeing that you're finally entering your own power, and as I said, confidence is your key to success. So you're realizing that you have so much potential within you. There is, despite of how others might have treated you, there is so much strength and resilience that you carry. And not just from that perspective, but whether it is to do with your romantic connections or even in the work environment, I see that there's a lot of value that you bring to the table. There is so much that you have to offer, which is going to invite and attract all the right people and all the right situations in your life. So just because there might have been heartbreak in the past, or these people or situations that didn't understand your value, that doesn't mean that that's the reality. It's just that those people weren't right, those situations weren't right, and they couldn't see you in a positive light. But as a whole, I see that you have so much value to you. And if on any level you've been struggling with your self-esteem or worth, especially with the lion imagery that we have here, because that in tarot we have the lion imagery in the strength card, and that is connected with our solar plexus chakra, which has to do with our self-esteem. So if this year has challenged your esteem, you've been made to feel by other people that you aren't good enough, whether that's in a romantic setting or even in your professional life, if you've had that feeling, then now is the time to take your power back. We're starting with the new moon and ending with the full moon in Leo. So I'm seeing that this whole month of December mainly is going to be all about taking your power back, understanding who you truly are, what your worth is, what kind of connections are worthy to be in your life, what kind of connections do you need to let go of, and also who are these right people that you can trust to collaborate with and share any burdens with. So, pile number one, I'm sending you a lot of best wishes, and I hope you have a beautiful December and a beautiful close for the year of 2022, and a happy new year to all of you. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if these readings resonated, and you can also check out all details in the description to book a personal reading with me. I'll see you in my next reading. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to the reading pile number 2. Today we're going to look at all the messages that you need to know about the month of December, and make sure to stay till the end. We're going to look at some specific messages for your love, career, as well as some general blessings. And remember, this is a reading for the collective, so if you want to book a personal reading with me, you can find all details in the description. So Spirit, what does pile 2 need to know about the month of December? What blessings are coming for them for the month of December? Spirit, what does pile 2 need to know about the month of December? One final card, please, Spirit. Alright, so pile number 2, what I can see in your reading is there is a mix of experiences here. So maybe on some aspect of your life there could have been a hardship that you are moving away from, whereas some other things might have been working out quite well in your life. So this month is going to be a little bit about balancing, about allowing both of these different kinds of experiences, these different energies to coexist. And how can you be like one foot in the light aspect, one foot in the shadow, so you're allowing these different energies to coexist. But starting off with the very first card that we have for you, Four of Wands, this gives me a message that the main energy that you are in right now is about celebration, about enjoyment. And for some of you, maybe for the month of December, there are these different parties, celebrations, and social events that might have been lined up for you, and you're really looking forward to that. So there I can see that, just social engagements, connections, all of those are going to be very significant for you for the month of December. And if you have been maybe holding yourself back, or there are these opportunities that are coming forth that will involve getting out there, meeting people, experiencing these new things, attending events, festivals, celebrations, or anything of that matter. So make sure that you are putting yourself out there, you're giving yourself the time to enjoy. And sometimes we feel that, we have to be productive all the time, or we can't allow ourselves to enjoy. But just enjoying ourselves, having a fun time is as much important for our self growth as, being productive and all these responsibilities that we have. So make sure that you're giving enough time for fun. For some of you, there might be events or these significant things happening around you. It could be like, someone's wedding or anniversary, or someone's birthday, or anything of that sort in your close, either your friend circle or in your family. So make sure that at least for that while, for the duration of these celebrations, you can put aside any of these other fears or responsibilities. And especially as the year is coming to a close, and we even have Christmas and New Year's and all of these different celebrations happening. So just give yourself the time to enjoy fully, and know that when the time is right, you will come back to your responsibilities and everything that needs your attention at the moment. So that's the main message, or the main energy that you're carrying with you for the month of December. And the next card that we have here is about, what the next month, these, like, what is this main experience that you're going to have. And with the Six of Swords, I see that there could be something that you're moving away from, something that you could be letting go of. So for some of you, this could be maybe a romantic connection, a relationship, or some person in your life that you're cutting off, or you're realizing that, they're not really in your highest interest at the moment, or you've been questioning for a while that, do I let go of this person, this situation? And if you intuitively feel that that person or that situation is not serving you anymore, then it's time to take a call, time to take a decision whether you want to carry these energies with you for this new month and even into the new year that's coming forward. And for others, I feel it's not about you actively, like, letting go of something. I see this more as a form of healing that's taking place for you, that, if in the past there are these negative experiences that you might have encountered, or maybe things haven't worked out in the way that you wanted them to, or based on however experiences might have been in the past year, if there's anything that hurt you, I'm seeing that you're leaving all of that behind and moving into something else. And this Six of Swords always gives me a message of moving away from rocky or very violent, harsh waters and huge waves into much calmer waters, which is exactly what we see with the Queen of Cups, that you're leaving that chaos behind, that unnecessary burden, unnecessary energies. And maybe for some of you, you might have been pushing yourself too much for towards a connection or a person who didn't value you, or maybe even in your work circumstances, you were pushing yourself beyond what was necessary, or you were just, experiencing burnout on some level. And now you're realizing, what are these goals that are truly worth chasing? Or have you been just running a marathon and trying to achieve this goal without stopping and without questioning whether that path is going to truly serve you or not? So I'm seeing a lot of reflection that is taking place for you. You're understanding where is it that you're going to invest your energies, and what are these areas of your life that you're going to, just withdraw your energy from. So maybe for the past couple of months or this year as a whole, you might have been in a all work no play sort of a situation where you've really just put in so much effort, you've been working so hard towards whatever it is that you want to achieve, and you've not given yourself any break at all. So right now, if you are in this energy of taking a break, enjoying, and if that is making you feel guilty, then you just need to reevaluate what your priorities are. Are you prioritizing work and productivity as, something beyond your self-care? And if that is happening, then you need to seek this balance all over again, that what are these things that nourish you? And if there are these things, whether it's a friendship, a connection, certain hobbies, or anything, that truly fills you up with joy, it makes you feel so nourished. And have you been avoiding or ignoring these things just because you have certain responsibilities or certain expectations that are placed for you? So make sure that you're just balancing and re-evaluating these energies. And the major theme that I see for the month of December, or the dominant energy that you're going to be in, is this Queen of Cups. And here I see that you're giving yourself a moment or some time to be at peace with yourself. You're allowing yourself to go inwards and tap into your own emotional well-being. Maybe for some of you, for the month of December, you might benefit from practices such as meditation, mindfulness, or just spending a little time in nature, or maybe even close to a water body. And for some of you, I feel that, as I said, if you have been in this energy of all work and no play, and maybe either, your profession could have something to do with creativity, or maybe your profession is something that doesn't involve creativity too much, but you have these creative passions on the side. So whatever the case might be for you, I sense that for maybe the past year or the past couple of months, you have been in a little bit of a blocked state, like creative block. You might have been experiencing creative block, where these ideas that you have, or these new things that you want to create, you might not have been able to work towards that. Or, and this also happens especially towards the end of the year, before we're stepping into a new year. We look back at all these resolutions or these plans that we created at the beginning of the year, but we weren't able to achieve those things. And here you need to remind yourself that you can only be your most productive and your most creative self when you've also been giving yourself enough breaks, when you have been resting when required, tapping into your own emotional well-being whenever you feel too stressed out, too burnt out. And maybe even for some of you, because we have the World and the Star card coming forward, which we'll come to in a bit, I see that maybe for some of you there is a drastic change that's taking place in your personal and professional life. I see you moving away from a situation which is not nurturing your creative spark or your creative soul that you have. And it's been so long that you've been in that situation, but now it's just, you're feeling that it's too much now, and you need to value your own creativity. You need to value things that sustain you, and that might be something that you're moving away from. And before a major decision like that happens, before you make a change like that, you need to be in a state of calm and peace to be able to make the best decisions moving forward. So make sure you are giving yourself that time. And because we have this water energy and the cups card here, it might help to connect with this element of water, which is all about our emotions, our creativity, and even our spiritual side. And if you've been too like earthy or too practical this whole year, there might have been responsibilities that you had to take care of, or you were in a very planning or a strategizing energy for this whole year. So for the month of December, it's time to also value your emotional strength, time to also listen to your heart for a change. And it's okay if a decision or if something doesn't seem too practical on the surface, because you also have to nurture your soul. Like, not everything can be accomplished by just planning and strategizing. You need to also listen to your intuition, and then you can follow that with planning and whatever actions that have to be taken moving forward. And the next card for you is the challenge that you're going to face for the month of December, and for that we have the Seven of Cups card. And when this card comes as a challenge, or maybe in its shadow element, then this reminds me of having too many ideas, too many choices, too many things that you want to do, but not being able to decide which path to follow, or what is this area where you're going to benefit the most from, from investing your energies. So if you ever arrive at that point again, you need to connect back with this inner sense of peace and calm within you, because no decision can be made, and especially if it's a significant decision, maybe about what next to do in your relationship, which person to pursue, which path to follow, what career change needs to be made. And if there are any of these significant changes that you are thinking about, that cannot ever be done from a place of too much of an urgency, too much of a stress that holds you back. So make sure that any major decision that you are taking in the month of December, that has to come from a place of your heart being in the situation, your intuition also guiding you about what the right path is moving forward. And don't make any major decisions when you are in a period of being held down by stress. And also, one caution that we have for you is, maybe there is a path, a decision, an option that on the surface seems very exciting and it seems very prosperous and beautiful and wonderful, but when you look deeper into it, you might realize that that's not what it's, as I was saying earlier, that what is it that truly gives you joy, that truly fulfills you. So maybe an option might appear appealing on the surface, but as you follow that path, you might realize that that's not the right decision. So to be able to better stay connected with your higher self, with your intuitive knowing, make sure that these decisions are coming from a place of listening to your intuition and not just what seems to be appealing on the surface. So make sure that is something that you're keeping in mind. And if you are faced with this period of confusion, so as a solution or an answer for you, we have the world card. And whenever the world card comes in as a advice or a solution, it always gives me the message about some significant change that has to be made. So, and this is again strongly resonating with the Six of Swords, about moving away from something and towards something that's going to serve us better, or it's going to be helpful for you. So if a major question that you came to this reading with was, should I make this change or should I leave something behind and step into something else, then in that case I'm getting a big yes answer for you, that it's time for you to make that change. It's time for you to move into a situation that is actually going to be beneficial for you, rather than staying stuck in an energy that's just not helping out anymore. So take that message as it resonates. Try to reflect on what this aspect of your life could be where a change is imminent, where a change is required. For some of you, there might actually be some travel that is involved, because both with the Six of Swords as well as with the World card, I see an indication for some sort of a travel that's taking place for you. So it could be something short term, maybe just a vacation. But for others, pile number two, it could actually be relocating and trying to seek for opportunities elsewhere. And finally, the last card that we have for you is the Star card, and that gives a message about how the month of December is going to end. So for you, I'm seeing this very bright, prosperous energy that your reading is ending on. So maybe at least in the first half of the month or before the month of December, you might have been in this energy of a little bit of heartbreak, disappointment, and walking away from something that wasn't helpful for you anymore. And that for some of you, it could have been something not that significant, but just something that naturally, inevitably ended and you moved into something else. But for a lot of you, this could have been something very big, very drastic, and a change that almost shifted things around for you a lot. For example, maybe there might have been a person that you felt was going to be someone you end up with or you have a long term commitment with, and that suddenly ended. Or it could be a path, a career path, or a decision that you made, and you might have felt initially very strongly about it, you were convinced about it, but just because of how external events happened, it didn't work out in the way you wanted to. So it might have been a major blow to you, and you had to find your grounding all over again, which is why we're seeing the sense of giving yourself that time to find the inner peace and calm. But the month of December is ending on the star energy, which is always about a new hope, a refreshed energy that is entering your life after a chaotic period. So by the end of this month, and in fact the year as a whole, there is a new sense of a spark that you're carrying with you. You're leaving behind the darker energies and you're carrying all this brightness into this new chapter of your life. And for some of you, especially if you are someone who's creative, or there's anything to do with creativity involved in your personal or professional life, and if for a while you felt that you were feeling a bit disconnected, and not just from creativity but even from the universe or from your higher self, I'm seeing that you're gaining that connection once again. You are realizing that you're not alone. There is support outside, and even in terms of your path or your purpose, so to say, if you've been feeling disconnected, or if you've been feeling that what you're doing isn't worthy enough, isn't valuable enough, so now you're truly moving towards something that is going to feel so meaningful and valuable for you. And now we'll move towards some specific messages about general blessings, your love, as well as your career. So let me first just get rid of these cards before we move to some specific messages for you. So, first, we have some general blessings and guidance that is coming forward for you. And the cards that we have for you is New Moon, a start is coming, and the Five of Wands. So, as I've been saying in the entire reading, that there's definitely something that you're walking away from, and a chapter of your life that is closing, and a new beginning that's about to happen. So it might be that you're letting go of a connection, starting, seeing someone else or something. You're understanding, you're getting a clearer idea about what is the kind of person that you want in your life, what are the kinds of friends that you want in your life. And even if it has to do with your career, you're realizing that it's not all about just wealth or money, but you should feel that sense of inner satisfaction in any path that you're following, and you're answering that calling. You're moving towards, as we saw with the star card, that you're gaining that connection back with your own soul, with your own higher self, with the universe once again. And if you do find yourself with this very fresh start and a fresh beginning for the month of December, and it can seem very intimidating and challenging, but just know that there is support around you, and in any new step that you take, there is going to be guidance. And especially with the Five of Wands, I see that earlier you might have been trying to balance too many things at once, or your focus and energy was being directed in a lot of different directions. And there might have been that one thing that you really wanted to pursue, or you wanted to take that forward, but you might not have had the time and energy to focus on just that, because of all these all these chaotic situations around you, these distracting energies that were present. But now that I'm seeing for the month of December, these distractions, these unhelpful surrounding energies, those are falling away, and you're becoming very prepared and energized for whatever this new beginning that's going to take place in your life. And we'll also look at some more specific messages about blessings coming your way for your love life and the love energies for the month of December. So the card that we have for you is New Moon in Cancer. You and your loved ones are safe, and the Ace of Swords. So here I'm seeing, maybe for some of you, you might have experienced heartbreak recently, or in your connections at the moment there could have been something that changed. And for some of you, if you're happy in your connection, there must have been something that shifted either in you or your partner's life. There could have been a change that took place, which took a little bit of time getting used to. Or for some of you, pile number two, you might have had your own healing journey to go through this year. And whenever there is one person going through their own challenges in a connection, it can definitely be a bit challenging for even your partner to see you go through that. So now I'm seeing that you've held on for so long, you've remained strong for so long, and now you are entering this state of new clarity, a new form of peace that you found within yourself, and that's going to be supportive not just for you but even in the connections that you have. So even your partner, all your loved ones, they're all going to feel much more safer. And there is also this energy of almost, I keep going back to the imagery of the star, that there's a new spark almost that's being ignited. So if you're single, if you've experienced a heartbreak, then that new spark can be in terms of finding a new connection, finding a new person who makes you feel really blessed and energized. And for those of you who are already in a connection, and maybe there might have been some challenges or changes that you've experienced in your connection throughout this year. So this might have to do with, like that new spark is being reignited in that connection. Maybe you're getting more in touch with what the deeper purpose of that connection is. And even the first card that we had for you, Four of Wands, which was about celebration and having fun. So maybe if you feel that this Five of Wands, it could have been that you were very invested in your career, your studies, your work, whatever that might be. And because of that, you weren't able to invest as much time in your relationships, your connections, and that could have made your partner a little almost, feeling that they needed you a bit more, but you weren't able to be there for them. So here I'm seeing that you are gaining that connection once again. You're realizing what are these priorities in your life, what changes have to be made, and if you want to continue to pour your energy into these other things, these other distractions which are taking you away from things that truly matter to you. So I'm seeing that a growth that's taking place for you. You're reflecting a lot, you're truly understanding what are the things that matter. And a lot of times we realize that the goals or these ambitions that we have for ourselves are not just things that we personally want, but just what society has fed into us, that by a certain timeline in your life you need to have these accomplishments. And then we start forgetting that these are not our own priorities, but just what society has fed us. So make sure that you're using this month of December to align yourself with what are these things that truly matter, and you're pouring your energies into that. And with the Ace of Swords, so there are two messages that I'm seeing here, pile number two. So for some of you, there might be a connection that you have been for a while, and maybe it was just in the talking state. So now you're getting this almost a confession from that person is letting you know that how strong their feelings are and they want something much more deeper with you. For others, it could be about a new person, a new beginning that's happening, a new connection that's happening for you. Maybe for some of you it could start through either something online, maybe an online dating app, or maybe for some of you it could be that there is maybe some interest that you have, some intellectual pursuit that you have, and you're trying to look for opportunities in that area, and that path is leading you towards this new person or a new connection. And for the rest of you who are already in a relationship and there is a person on your mind, then this Ace of Swords could be about that you're getting closer to that person, and both of you together are gaining a lot more clarity about where you want this connection to head next, and even deeper questions about where do you eventually see this relationship going towards. So I'm seeing a lot of clarity in communication, and maybe there are things that you haven't yet spoken about with your partner or with this person that you have in mind, and now you're becoming a bit more free and open to discuss those things, to have those conversations. And finally, I have also pulled some cards for you for your career and blessings coming for the month of December. And the cards that we have for you is full moon in Gemini. The answers you need are coming, and also the Fool card. So I want to start with the Fool card first, and this always gives message of being a beginner all over again, starting a new path. So for some of you, you are graduating and you're stepping into something that feels entirely new for you. Maybe there's a path that you've changed suddenly, and now you're feeling like a beginner all over again in whatever it is that you've chosen. Or for some of you, as I said, that there were some indications of travel, so maybe you are moving somewhere else for work. So that could be putting you in this energy of feeling a little challenged because everything is new to you and you're trying to navigate all these different changes, trying to find your grounding, trying to just find that sense of balance again. So just make sure that as you navigate through this new beginning, you're not feeling too intimidated. Don't see this as a huge obstacle or something that fully like holds you back, but rather just as a learning experience, like just like this bird that we have on this twig, that who's just about to step into the world, who's about to learn to fly. So just see this as an adventure, see this as a learning experience, and seeing this change, this new beginning, as how is it going to help your growth. And even if things seem a little intimidating in the beginning, don't have too much of an unrealistic expectation that you're going to be perfect from the get-go. So if there is any form of learning that's required in your career, or maybe you feel that it's time to switch gears, switch to something else, learn something else, apply for a course, just change your path and start something all over again, or whatever this for you in your situation, whatever this beginning is for you, don't place too much of an expectation that you have to be perfect from the get-go. Just give yourself the time to learn, time to experience, and even time to make mistakes, in fact, so that you can learn from those mistakes and come out of it even stronger. And with the full moon in Gemini, it says the answers you need are coming. So maybe if you have been asking about this question, that should I leave this thing and start something new, should I step out of this energy into something else, so there I'm seeing that definitely you're getting a lot more clarity in your situation. You are understanding that what path is it that you truly want to follow. And this card, the full moon in Gemini, it also says, so if you have been right now applying for different jobs, or you've been trying to seek new opportunities and you're waiting to hear back from them, what I'm seeing here is the option or that opportunity that is actually going to be beneficial from you for you is in your path. You are going to hear back from them, and it's going to create this almost instantaneous change for you, where things start changing so rapidly. So make sure that before that change happens, you're preparing yourself, you're understanding what are these things that matter, that are your priority, so that you're prepared to go through that change, and that you're entering into that new change in your career with a balanced state of mind, where that this is an area of your life which is going to serve a specific purpose, so you're investing your energies. And at the same time, that there are these other things, such as having your own space for fun and enjoyment, giving yourself enough breaks, and putting in efforts for in these connections that matter to you. Or maybe there's this other pursuit that you might have on the side which nurtures you. So make sure that there is space for all of these different things. And I'm seeing you move away from this chaos of not knowing what to do, not knowing where to invest your energies, into so much more clarity, and being willing and ready to start this new change, start this new chapter of your life. So that's a very beautiful blessing that's coming your way. And now, with the final card that you chose, we have the Queen energy with number 11. So with this Queen card, I'm seeing that any new change that you experience in this period, and any new path that you start investing your energy into, I'm seeing that there is so much power within you to create all your desired outcomes, to give birth to new ideas. Even if things have been chaotic so far, I'm seeing that moving forward, if someone observes you externally, they might see that you're handling this entire situation so gracefully, so elegantly, and it might seem as if things are coming across so easily for you, and things are just flowing in your favor, and it might seem very effortless. But people don't know that below that, beneath all of that, there is so much effort and changes that you've had to make, and there is so much growth that has happened to you throughout this entire year, for you to be able to enter this energy where things seem so easy for you. And also make sure that you are connecting with anything that is a little beyond yourself. So sometimes when we are stuck in any situation or in any problem, so we see that in a very unidimensional way, or we just look at the issue at the moment without zooming out a little bit and seeing the bigger picture, the bigger purpose of things. And there are these things like divine timing, which means things work out in their own timing. Or even sometimes, even the most hurtful heartbreaks or things not turning out in our favor are not from a place of holding us down. Rather, there are these deeper lessons that we learn from that situation. So make sure that you're facing these challenges gracefully. You're facing them by thanking these situations, showing gratitude to these lessons that you have learned, and definitely acknowledging your feelings, validating your experiences, but at the same time also having a sense of gratitude for your inner resilience and everything that you possess within, that has made you come out stronger from these challenges. So these are all the messages that I had for you, pile number 2. I sort of want to end the reading with the lotus imagery that we have on this card, because the lotus, it grows, it is so beautiful and elegant, but it grows in muddy waters. And similarly, I'm seeing that there might be this chaos, confusion, uncertainty that is surrounding you, but you're truly blooming blooming out of it. You're coming out of this from, in such a beautiful manner that people might not even be able to guess or understand that how could you have emerged from this so beautifully despite things being so difficult. So I see this growth, this bloom that's happening for you for the month of December, and it's going to have a lasting impact on your journey moving forward. So thank you so much for joining me for this reading pile number 2. Hope you have a very blissful and a happy month of December with a lot of growth and learning. And make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if these messages resonated. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all details are in the description. And I'll see you in my next reading. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to your reading pile number 3. We're going to look at all the blessings that are coming your way for the month of December. Make sure to stay till the end to find specific messages for love and career. And remember that these are the messages for the collective. For a personal reading, you can find all details in the description. So, Spirit, what does pile 3 need to know about the month of December? What are these blessings that are coming for pile number 3 for the month of December? What messages does pile 3 need? One final card. All right, pile number 3. So, what I can see in your card, starting off with the Two of Wands, the first card that we have for you, which is the energy that you are in right now, that tells me that you might be at little bit of threshold at the moment. You are in between things, so maybe you've just started seeking new opportunities, or maybe there's something that you've already applied for. You've chosen a path for yourself. You just stepped into it, and now you are in a phase of questioning whether this is right for me, whether it's going to give me the right results or not. And for some of you, I see the sense that maybe for a while you have been in your comfort zone, and now it's time to make a change, to step out of this comfort zone into something that seems a little risky. And maybe some of you are in a little bit of an unconventional path, or there is a change that you've decided to make for yourself which is a little unusual or might be a little risky if if other people evaluate it from the outside. And that has definitely been a leap of faith that you've taken, and that path that you chose was just because you had a vision for yourself, and there were these certain desires that you have, and you have this vision of where you see yourself going. And I see you, pile number 3, as being someone who's really ambitious and who has these goals, and you would do anything to achieve those goals, even if there is opposition from outside, and even if other people do not really see this vision that you have for yourself. But I see that you carry this strength within you to go through with these actions, to go through with the paths that you know is best for yourself. And maybe for some of you in pile number 3, you're still at the threshold, as I mentioned. So there is a change or a decision that you see you have to make, you have to step into something, but you're right now just in a little bit of a period of evaluating things, or maybe fully convincing yourself to go through with that. And if you are in that phase, I just want to remind you, and even Spirit wants to send you this message, that you carry so much power within you, and you definitely have this ability to direct your life in the way that you want and make it align with the path or the vision that you have in mind. I definitely see you as a creative soul, as this visionary who has these brilliant ideas about where you want your life to go, how you want your life to look like. And even if there are any risky moves that are involved, I can see that you have that in your capabilities to make those changes and to take all the desired actions. And just the only word of caution here is it can be a little intimidating, and it definitely requires a lot of patience on your end, because if you take a leap of faith, or if you decide to make this change for your life, so it might happen that the results, they don't come at the exact pace or in the exact scale or intensity as you envision, things might be a little bit slow, because we have this idea of time from a very humanly, earthly 3D perspective, where we're only looking at days, months, years passing by. But our soul journey, the universe, it has its own timings, and things they take their own time to progress. So one major energy that you need to stay connected with is this element of patience. So make sure that you're taking all the actions, you're following your desired path, but when it comes to the actual outcomes, you're giving yourself a little bit of grace, you're being compassionate and gentle towards yourself, and just allowing things to unfold at their own time and pace. And in terms of the dominant energy that we have present for the month of December, we have the Nine of Cups. So that's definitely telling me that either there's a decision that you've already made, or you're about to make, and you're about to step into this energy that, as you can see in this card, it seems so freeing and so liberating, that as if you finally let go of any inhibitions that might have been holding you back, and you truly stepping into your power and your energy. And I see that as a very prosperous time for you, especially for your creative energies to be utilized. And I see you being in an energy of so much emotional fulfillment. It almost seems like, with the treasure chest that we have on this card, it seems that there's a treasure that you've landed upon. It's almost, for some of you, it might even feel so unexpected and even surreal at times, that you could even experience this level of emotional fulfillment and satisfaction. And this just tells me that maybe you have encountered your fair share of hardships and things have been challenging, which is why it's even difficult for you to accept and acknowledge that there is so much brightness that you're experiencing right now. So make sure, whatever this change that you have to make, or this new risky path, this adventure that you're stepping into, make sure that you enter it with full force and allow yourself to experience that level of happiness and that level of contentment that is definitely awaiting you. And also make sure that you're not holding yourself back, because as I said, this energy is all about liberation and fully maybe putting yourself out there. And for some of you, if there is a creative passion or a pursuit that you have, so maybe this might be time to show the world what you're capable of. For some of you, the month of December might be a time for you to display your work, to display what you've been working on for so long. So make sure that you're not holding back when it comes to that. You're truly letting the world see what you're made out of, what you're capable of. And the next card that we have for you, which is about like the hierophant that I see, that represents the main theme or the main topic that we have for you for the month of December. So for some of you, this could have something to do with a training of some sort, new learning that you're experiencing. So maybe there's a new path. So as we say, that there's maybe something unconventional that you're stepping into, something new that you're learning. So that could be a course that you're doing, a training of some sort that you're going through. Or for some of you, it might be about some form of a spiritual teaching that now you're getting more aligned with, and maybe, for example, even tarot or things like these that you have been curious about for a while, and now you're yourself stepping into this position of learning these things. And I see this sense of being a student, being entering this space where you're learning new skills, and especially in order to make yourself capable of providing certain kind of help or services to others. So if you are engaged in any form of healing, or just any form of service that involves directly working with other people in need, then this might just be a confirmation for you that even though it seems like a risky move, that is definitely a positive path for you moving forward. And for some of you, this might just be about some form of spiritual awakening that's taking place for you. So maybe there is a new insight that you've discovered on life. You're getting more in touch with your own higher purpose and what is it that you are placed in this lifetime to do, and you're getting more in touch with that. And whenever that move happens in our life, that could be like, on the surface it might seem that it's not too practical or it's too out there or too unconventional, but if intuitively, if in your soul you know that that's a path that truly nourishes you, then make sure that you are investing your time and energy into that. You are answering this calling, this intuitive knowing of where it is that you want to head towards. And I'm also seeing this as maybe there is a mentor, a supervisor, a teacher of some sort that we see with the Hierophant. So maybe a mature soul, a guided soul, someone who is experienced in what they're doing could be entering your life. Or maybe if that person is already present in your life, then just make sure that you are seeking guidance from that person, you are finding your answers from that person. And this guide, this mentor, this guru, whoever it is that you're encountering, or maybe if they are already present in your life, make sure that you are staying connected with them, and they might just be able to provide you with the right guidance to move into a certain direction. And even, like, even though there is this message about a teacher, a helper, a mentor, a guide of some sort being present, make sure that you're also balancing what you hear, what you learn from them, with your own inner wisdom and the sense of inner knowing about what you feel is right or wrong for you. For some of you, maybe there's a path that you really want to follow, it's a creative pursuit or something, or maybe there's just a hobby that you've had for a while and now you're stepping into learning about it. So I'm just going to take an example, take see however it applies in your situation. So taking the example of music as a hobby, so maybe so far you've only been doing that as just a creative hobby, something that you do that gives you joy, but now you're trying to gain some form of a formal training or education in that, and there is a mentor or someone that you encounter who guides you in this path. So it might happen that at least for a while you feel supported, you feel energized by this connection, and you feel really blessed to have this sort of a training, this teaching, this institution that you found for yourself. But at the same time, it might happen that after a while you encounter this disconnect, almost, that what this formal training is, it's not aligning completely with the exact way in which you want to do things. Maybe again, going back to the example of music, so maybe in the formal training there is a lot of emphasis on just the techniques and maybe the specific way that they are doing things. It's not giving too much of a space for innovation or creativity on your end, and that is making you feel a little trapped, a little disappointed, and it's making you feel a little anxious, especially with the Nine of Swords as the next card that we have for you. So one challenge that you might encounter this month is there is a risk that you've taken, you've stepped into a new path, and now initially you felt really energized by the support that was present, but now you're realizing that this is not the way that you want things to be, and it's making you a little anxious, or it's making you feel as if you made a mistake, you made a wrong choice. Or even if this has to do with a relationship or a connection, you might be feeling that you were, like that initial honeymoon phase that we have in every connection, where we have these rose tinted glasses and we see the person only from a very positive light, and we don't see their flaws at all. Or even if we do see them, we try to ignore them, or we try to convince ourselves that they don't matter as much, and we try to stay in that initial bliss of a connection. So right now it might happen that now, as the month progresses, you're becoming a little bit disillusioned, you're becoming more aware of that person's flaws. So I'm not saying that for all of you, if that is a experience that you have, then that connection is definitely going to end. Like, that's not the case at all. For some of you, it might involve walking away from that person, or realizing that their flaws, or these like some traits of them are things that you don't agree with or you don't want to continue with. So in that situation, you can decide to call it off. But for others, I'm just seeing this as a message that those rose tinted glasses are coming off, and you're seeing that person in a more holistic perspective now. And similarly, even for the maybe in your career or in your studies, if there's a change that you've made, a new path that you've started, and initially you were blinded by everything that was magical and blissful in that situation, situation, but now as you're learning more, you're getting to realize that maybe it's not 100% aligned with who you are, what your values are. And again, going back to that example of music, that now you're realizing that yes, the formal training, this might have its own value. There are certain things that it's going to add in your life, in your experiences, but at the same time it can't take away from who you are as a creative person. So make sure that you're seeing this entire situation in a bit of a holistic manner. And quite interestingly, I don't think I've noticed this about this card before, but we have all these sort of crows or these black ravens that are present in this card, but we have this faint shadow or a reflection of this white bird too being present here. So that's just telling me that when that initial disenchantment takes place, and for some reason I'm going back to the song Enchanted by Taylor Swift. So like initially we feel so drawn to something, whether that's a person or a path, and we feel as if there could be nothing wrong in that situation, and that's a dream come true. So even if there are certain flaws, we definitely try to ignore those. But here what I'm seeing is when that disillusionment happens, or when we realize that that situation, that person isn't as picture perfect, so that can be very disheartening. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't turn into a black and white thinking or an either or thinking, where you only look at all the flaws or you only look at the situation as being entirely perfect. Rather, how can you have a balanced or a holistic view on that situation? So if you are in a career path right now where you've begun to feel as if this might not be the best thing, or I made the wrong choice, or this isn't the exact path that I want to follow, so instead of being like totally seeing only the negatives of it and thinking that this is just a blunder or a mistake that you made, try to zoom out a little bit, try to see the situation in a more holistic perspective, and try to understand that yes, it might seem that the situation right now is just not helpful at all, not beneficial at all, but there might be this one white bird that is still present in the situation, which means something that you're still gaining out from it. So just the message here is to see things from a bit more holistic perspective. Don't narrow down on just don't go back to wearing these rose tinted glasses again, where you ignore the flaws in the situation, and at the same time don't enter this nine of swords situation where it's too overwhelming, it's making you anxious, where you're only focusing on the negatives. Rather have a balanced perspective, and that's exactly what we're seeing with the Hanged Man as well, which is all about changing your perspective a little bit and seeing the existing situations in a new light, giving yourself a little time and patience. So one major message for you for the month of December is don't be very impulsive with the decisions that you're taking or the actions that you're taking. So for example, some of you might still be in this rose tinted glasses phase, and you're only seeing the situation in just being fully perfect. So don't be very impulsive and make a huge commitment at the moment if you haven't made that commitment yet. And at the same time, if those rose tinted glasses come off and if you see that the situation isn't as perfect or isn't the way that I had imagined, then even in that situation, don't be too impulsive with fully letting go of it. As I said, have that holistic perspective, and as the Hanged Man also suggests, be a little patient with your circumstances, with your situations, see it in a different light, and make sure that you're reflecting, you're thinking before you make any major decision. And the way that I am seeing this month ending is with this Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles is all about give and take, is all about the situation being in a period of being in a state of flow, and things are like, you, if there is a certain wish or a desire that you have, so that is being answered, you're getting your desired results. But that can only happen if you're also giving, like the universe works on the principle that in order to receive, you have to also give. So I'm seeing you, like, if there is risk that you've taken, if there is an uncertain path that you have stepped into, so to go through that, you need to also like try to understand what are these changes that you can make to see this investment from a different perspective. So for example, you might have invested like actual monetary investment, maybe in a path that you've decided for yourself, which isn't fully serving you or isn't fully working out at the moment, or it could be a connection that you've invested your energy into. So instead, as I was saying with the hanged man, that don't be too impulsive. So instead of immediately withdrawing your energies, still be in a phase of giving. For example, you've had a creative hobby, that music that you wanted to pursue, and you took formal training for it, but now you're a little disheartened by the way things are, or your creativity is being snatched away from you, or you're not allowed to be too free with the way that you're expressing yourself. So instead of taking a very impulsive decision of withdrawing yourself from that situation, give yourself this time and patience that we see with the hanged man. And then also, because sometimes we feel that the only way out of a negative situation is to completely withdraw our energies, but we don't realize that sometimes pouring our efforts into that energy can also become the solution. So if make sure that this formal training that you're going through, you're doing your best in that, so that you can finish that and then come out of it to be who you really want to be. And similarly, if it's a difficult connection, or maybe in your relationships there's a challenge that you're going through, these difficult conversations that are taking place, or even in your family, so instead of completely withdrawing your energies, try to communicate from your end. Like, even if the final outcome is the connection breaking or the other person taking their energy back, make sure you are not the one to completely cut that off without giving all you can in that situation. And that definitely comes with the message of balance and putting your self-interest first too. But if you feel that there is still some salvaging that can happen in this situation, maybe there's still a possibility where by pouring your own love and energy into the situation, and by giving that love or that communication to the person, you think that the situation can be reversed, then try to go through with that. Try to make sure that you are not fully withdrawing your energies from that situation. So that's the major message that I see for you for the month of December. And now we'll also look into some specific messages about blessings that are coming your way, and also specific messages for love and career. So let me first remove these cards before we come to the blessings coming for you for the month of December. And I have these two cards that I've pulled out for you. The first card that we have is the North Node, which says step out of your comfort zone. And the second card, the tarot card that we have for you, is the Eight of Wands. So, in terms of the general blessings, this card is connecting exactly with the first message that I said with the Two of Wands, that you might have been in a position where things were comfortable for you, but then you were eventually moving into sort of an unknown territory. And that symbolism of a threshold is coming back to me again, that you're right at the doorstep, about to step into something new, or maybe that might have been something that you've already stepped into and it is a little bit out of your comfort zone and something that you're not entirely used to, and it can be a bit intimidating, definitely. But I see this as a possibility for so much growth for you. And there's also this sense of not letting the previous experiences holding you back, and know that your highest good, your true purpose, and the maximum potential of what you are capable of, that lies beyond your comfort zone. So sometimes it definitely, even if it is challenging, sometimes the best path forward for us is to go through that initial period of discomfort where things are very uncertain and we don't exactly know how to navigate that situation, because in retrospect, in hindsight, we realize that those uncertainties were important for us, and that situation, that difficulty, it taught us its own lessons, and there was just some growth and learning that took place even through that difficult experience. So make sure that you are allowing yourself to experience that discomfort a little bit, experience those challenges, even though it might seem really overwhelming in the moment. And it almost seems like everything that you've been wishing for, everything that you've been dreaming for, is on the other side of this path. So I'm coming back to that example of a formal training that you might be going through. Maybe some of you are in an academic program that you right now are not feeling too happy about, or you're not too satisfied with it, and on some instances you get this feeling of wanting to give up. But the message for you is to just push through this situation for a little while longer, and you'll realize that everything that you've been dreaming of is on the other side, and your future self will look back and thank you for pulling yourself through that situation. And even with this Eight of Wands, I get this message that it's time to just have your focused align in one specific direction at the moment. Like, even if it seems very challenging and intimidating, make sure that you're pulling through that. You're understanding that there is a bigger goal that lies at the end of this. And I'm also seeing that this path, even if it's causing discomfort, it is intimidating and it might even scare you to some extent. So even if it is making you experience all these difficult feelings, make sure that you are telling yourself that this path is just leading you towards your higher purpose. It's urging you to make a difference in your life and to lead you in the direction that truly fulfills you. And I'm also seeing that there right now you might be at a almost a turning point in your life where you're moving away from the mundane and monotonous and a routine, and on some level, if it has been a bit mediocre, so to say, you're leaving that behind. You're leaving that comfort zone behind into your true purpose, into why you reincarnated in this lifetime, to experience these challenges and to step closer to your life purpose. I also see this as the North Node as a card for um like, it's almost that you're aligning yourself with what your true destiny is, and that path is never really easy. Like, you have to go through that, mark through that discomfort and all these challenges to fully be able to stand on your feet and to carry out your life purpose in a very strengthened and a re-energized manner. And the Eight of Wands just gives me this message of encouraging you to stay focused on the path that you are. Look back at everything that you've experienced so far, and would you really want to give up now, or would you want to push through with it to see the situation till the end and then emerge out of it so victorious and a step closer to your true purpose? That will take a lot of strength, but there is so much strength that I already sense in you, pile number 3. So make sure that you don't give up, you push through that, and you stay connected with your higher calling, with your higher purpose. Next, we have some messages, some specific messages for your love and blessings and opportunities coming your way. So the cards that we have for you is your dreams need a practical plan, the full moon in Taurus, and the Sun of Swords, which is the Knight of Swords. So in your tarot cards, we had the Hierophant, and that also represents the Taurus sign. So maybe you or a significant person in this situation could have the Taurus sign, either Sun, Moon, or Rising, or the period of Taurus could be significant in your life. And as this says, this card coming up in a love situation, it tells me the message here that your dreams need a practical plan. And just the sense of practicality, it's again making me go back to the imagery of the initial phases of a connection, or no matter how long you've known a person, we do somehow still keep wearing these rose tinted glasses, and sometimes we do project our feelings onto someone, and we feel more about the idea or this vision of a person that we've created in our minds rather than the actual person in front of us. So make sure that you are seeing love and relationships in a more holistic manner. You're seeing them in a more practical manner, and not to say that you, like, definitely you don't have to accept any behavior from the person in a relationship or accept any kind of treatment, but at the same time also don't have too much of an unrealistic expectation from another person. Because here's the thing, like, not everyone, like, no one is perfect and everyone has their own flaws. So if we have this unrealistic standard, that or this unrealistic measure that we are evaluating a certain person against, so they will never measure up to it, because just these unrealistic expectations that we've set, that's not going to be something that anyone can match. And again, take this message with the caution, because it doesn't mean that you have to lower your standards or accept any kind of treatment. Rather, it just means to see the person, the connection, the relationship in a more holistic manner. You're avoiding that form of a black and white thinking, that you're not seeing them as the most perfect person, and at the same time, even if they make a certain mistake or if they have certain flaws, that's not making you completely see them as an unworthy person. So just take your time, reflect on this a little bit, and make sure that you're seeing and approaching connections in a more holistic and a more balanced manner. And the Knight of Swords, the Sun of Swords here, it just tells me to make sure that you are, first of all, communicating well, because a lot goes wrong in love and connections based on just our assumption of things and having these thoughts in our minds which we never communicate with this other person. So make sure that you're not letting things just be in your mind, but you're communicating this with your person in your connection. You're expressing this need or expectation that you might have, and at the same time make sure that this communication isn't becoming too harsh where you're just blaming the other person without expressing your own needs. So sometimes when things go wrong in a connection, or if the person does something wrong, our first response sometimes comes from a place of criticizing them and telling them everything that they did wrong. And if we approach from that perspective, it's just going to push the other person away and make them more defensive, so that they're not even listening to what exactly you're trying to express. So make sure that if there is any conflict that takes place, or if there is this major moment of a conversation that has to be had in your relationship, make sure you're approaching more from a perspective of laying down your needs and expectations in a gentle and compassionate manner, like letting the other person know this is how you want to be treated, this is what your needs are, without being too resentful towards the person or without blaming them too much, saying that this is what you've done wrong, these are your flaws. Because even if you place yourself in the other person's shoes, if you made a mistake, would you rather have the other person just come and blame you, or would you want a dialogue, a proper conversation where things are addressed in a healthy manner? So make sure that you have this logical side to things, even if it is a matter of the heart, matter of connections, and your feelings are involved. Make sure even those things are being taken care of in a gentle, rational, logical manner. And make sure that with the Knight of Swords, there is a balance of communicating but not being too harsh, and at the same time, not being too impulsive. Like sometimes there is an argument or there is something wrong that the person does, and in our minds, without outwardly communicating, we start blaming them, we start resenting them, and but externally, we're holding that back. So, how it just ends up turning out is when you do actually have that conversation, things just pour out of you, and you might become a little impulsive in that moment where you say things that you might later regret. So make sure that you are only having these communications, these resolving these conflicts when you yourself are in a calm situation, in a calm state. But overall, because we have the Taurus energy here, I see that a major blessing that's coming for you for in your love life in the month of December is practicality, rationality, things being a lot more grounded. So even if you are single, I'm seeing that rather than being a conversation with another person, you're just having these dialogues with your own self about how your connections have been in the past, and if there's any resentment that you're carrying from these connections. I'm seeing that you're stepping away from this position of blaming the other people too much, maybe blaming others who hurt you a lot in the past. And definitely this doesn't mean that you're going to take away the accountability or responsibility from those who have actually hurt you. Rather, you are moving away from this energy of too much resentment or anger, and rather just finding the sense of grounding within yourself, finding what is it that works for you, and only then would you be able to attract that kind of a treatment from the person that you desire, and you'll have that prosperous connection moving forward. So I see this balance and this stability entering for you in terms of your love life. And finally, we have some channel messages, some cards that I pulled out for you for career. And for that, we have the South Node and the Daughter of Cups, which is the Page of Cups. So it's interesting that for you we had both the North Node and the South Node. So I see that the month of December as a whole, there is just so much shift that's taking place. It almost seems like you're growing up and maturing so fast within this short amount of time. And I'm seeing that you're moving away from a position of feeling as if life happens to you and these challenges happen to you, and there's this external sort of a challenge, and then you're just going through that and you're maturing from that and seeing this as a lifetime that you chose for yourself, and these challenges that you're going through, everything that you're learning from that situation. So I see you moving away from resentment into this maturing energy of seeing things as they are and changing your thoughts and perception about those things to view them from a growth mindset rather than this lack mindset which holds you back. And with the South Node, this card here says, don't let your past hold you back. So I can definitely see pile number 3. There is so much of personal growth that has happened for you, and you've matured in so many ways. But sometimes, even with all this growth and maturing that has taken place, sometimes the external situations are such that they keep repeating, or we find ourselves in a similar cycle or a similar pattern all over again, and that might create this impulse within us to go back to our old patterns. Make sure that you are not allowing for that to happen, and especially because these cards have come up in your career setting, I see this as maybe in the past you've had this habit of walking away from things too quickly, or walking away. Maybe there's a path that you chose for yourself, and there was an initial level of discomfort, or you felt that this isn't right for you. So instead of giving yourself the time to reflect or to truly understand, like what the next move should be, there might have been an impulse to just walk away from it. But now I'm seeing that after all this maturing that has happened, even if the situation in your career externally isn't exactly as how you expect, now I see you more in a position to reflect and to plan better for yourself instead of being impulsive and walking away from it. Like, there's such a strong message of balance in your reading overall, and just seeing things in a much more holistic perspective. So even for your career, I'm seeing that you're letting go of this past pattern of making impulsive changes and decisions and sticking through with something and seeing it till its end, so that you're able to just gain whatever that path has to offer for you, and then you can decide what the next step should be, instead of just giving up and finding yourself in a situation where there is so much uncertainty and you don't know what the next step there should be. And especially with the daughter of cups, which is, this card tells me that you're taking your intuition into account, you're taking your emotional well-being into account before making any decision, and as opposed to the swords energy of being a little impulsive or just too in your head and wanting to plan things, wanting to think of the next step. I'm seeing you enter into a little calmer energy of experiencing things, even if it is discomfort that you're experiencing. You're allowing those emotions to flow, and you're not making a very impulsive change. And there's a major message here of breaking old patterns. So just reflect on how your career journey has been so far. What were these things that were helpful? So it could either be maybe in your career and your professional life, you fully drowned yourself in work, maybe, and that is an unhealthy pattern that now you need to release. For example, you've allowed yourself to overwork so much that you've reached the stage of burnout, and now is the time to let go of that pattern and to step into your power, to step into what are these things that favor your emotional well-being, instead of just sticking through with this unhealthy pattern of just stress. And at the same time, if there has been a certain pattern of giving up immediately, even if things get a little uncomfortable, you don't allow yourself to experience that, rather you just want to quit. Maybe that has been a pattern and it has led into this unhealthy sort of a coping mechanism where you are never really satisfied. So is that a pattern that you need to break? So maybe in your specific situation it could be something else that needs a little reworking, or just something that you need to evaluate and change in your life. So make sure that you are making those changes and you're not being caught in these past cycles. And finally, the final card that we have for you is Shapeshifter. So here, this card just confirms this energy of, being a little bit more adaptable, being a little bit more flexible. And if, for example, the external situation isn't exactly as you had imagined, so you're giving yourself a little bit time to grow, or time to experience those changes, even if they have been a little bit challenging. So make sure that you are able to take up these different roles. So for example, if it has been in your career and there is a certain specific picture that you had for yourself, or a vision that you had for yourself, and you've been too stuck with that, make sure that you are allowing for some sense of flexibility, some sense of adaptability, and maybe there is just something else that is required from you, or some changes that you need to make in your plans. Make sure that you have that adaptability, and especially because we had the step out of your comfort zone. So maybe you've been limiting yourself into what you've envisioned, or you've convinced yourself that this is the extent of things that I can do. So with the shapeshifter, I see there's almost this energy of fake it till you make it. So even if you are in a situation that is outside of your comfort zone, then how can you convince yourself that you can push through, you can come out of this situation, and it doesn't have to be something that just completely holds you back? How can you make yourself yourself a little bit more flexible, and maybe even pretending for a while as if you are capable enough to make these changes. And just through that journey, you'll realize that you always had that strength and that capability within you, but you just hadn't tapped into it. So I'm seeing that the month of December for you is definitely, it can seem a little bit challenging, but there are so many of these changes that are taking place. And with both the north and the south node being present in your reading, I see a lot of karmic cycles that are coming to an end. And this can only happen when we are moving away from old patterns. Maybe for some of you, there's whole reevaluation of your own identity, of your own sense of self, and these ideas and dreams and ambitions that you have attached or associated yourself with. And now all of those are being shifted, it's being molded into something entirely new, or you're just getting to know about more versions, more aspects of yourself. And something that I'm seeing for some of you, maybe if academic validation has been something so crucial for you that it has dictated every move in your life or every decision that you've taken, and maybe that could be a reason why you found yourself in certain educational systems, which later you realized is not something that you fully aligned with. Or maybe in your work situation, that has led you into these different roles and positions where there was external praise and there was this validation, but internally you didn't feel as satisfied. So now I'm seeing this shift that's taking place for you, where you're truly stepping into your own power, and you're understanding that you're almost, it's I almost see that there's a shift in your own motivation taking place, that rather than doing things just for external validation, now you're moving into a position of valuing your own inner sense of compass, your inner drive and your purpose that is guiding you in your path forward. So I definitely see this month of December as, for some of you, it might actually be a little bit chaotic because of how many and how intense these changes are going to be for you. But at the same time, you're going to emerge out of it almost like a new person at the end of it, someone who's gone through these challenges and reworked on themselves so much and come out as this new version of yourself. So I see that by the end of this month, in fact this year as a whole, you're stepping into the next year as a completely new and a completely different person, someone whose priorities are almost changing. You are realigning yourself. It's almost like refinement, and you're tuning yourself into the frequency of your higher self. Like maybe so far you've allowed the external world to dictate the choices that you make in life, but now you're fully stepping into your own self and your own guidance. So the only thing that motivates you to move forward is your sense of peace, your own sense of what feels like an accomplishment to you, rather than what externally is fed into you, that this is what an ideal level of success or accomplishment should look like. So there's so much growth that's happening for you, pile number 3, and I'm sending you all the best wishes. I hope you have an amazing December and a very happy new year. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned to more pick a card readings. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, all the details are in the description below, and I'll see you in my next reading. Bye bye.